Think about seeing someone you used to love and thought you'd never see again, struggling on the streets with kids you didn't even know they had. Raphael, a rich businessman, had that happen to him when he stopped at a red light on a busy street in New York. He was shocked. Amanda, his ex-wife, was looking through trash with her hair all over the place and her clothes dirty. Two young girls with familiar eyes were standing next to her. Raphael's heart stopped beating. They looked just like him. That's his daughter there. He felt a lot of different things: shame, anger, and regret. When Amanda saw him, though, she did something he didn't expect. He couldn't have imagined how deeply her words would hurt. He had no idea that his whole life would change in an instant. What would you do if you were Raphael? Would you leave, or would you try to fix what you broke? Join us as we dive into a story about love, redemption, and second chances. It's not just a family. The story is about a man who fights for a future he thought was lost forever. Can the past be fixed now, though? Raphael Anderson slammed on the brakes, and his heart raced as he stopped at a red light. The tires screeched. The summer heat in New York City made him feel like he could not breathe as he adjusted his designer sunglasses and tried to calm down the anxiety that had been bothering him all morning. He couldn't get rid of the feeling that something was about to change that had nothing to do with the business deal he had just signed. He should have been happy, but his chest felt tight in a way he hadn't felt previously. As soon as the light turned green, Raphael tapped the steering wheel impatiently. That's when he saw her. At first, he couldn't understand what his eyes were telling him. She was hunched over a trash bag on the busy corner of Fifth Avenue, going through empty soda cans and bottles. Her clothes were torn and her hair, which used to be beautiful, was pulled back. But the thing that hurt him the most was her face. The face that kept coming back to him in his dreams. The face of his ex-wife, Amanda. Raphael felt sick to his stomach. The woman he used to love. The woman to whom he had promised the world was now having to live on the streets. He was shocked. Two little girls, no more than 6 years old, were standing next to her and helping with the trash, which made things even worse. It looked like we knew those girls. Their dark, curly hair and light skin made them easy to spot. His heart beat faster. His daughters, the ones he didn't know he had. Raphael's thoughts were all over the place as his car sat at the light. The busy city noise, like horns, chatter, and faraway traffic, seemed to fade away as he thought about what he saw. It shocked him to see Amanda, but hit him like a freight train when he realized that these girls, these sweet little faces, were his own. Amanda looked up just in time for their eyes to meet. It looked like time had stopped. Her face showed that she was shocked, angry, and feeling something else. Sadness, pain, and something he couldn't quite read. The light changed to green. The cars behind him sped up and honked at him. But Raphael was still. His gut took over before he could gather his thoughts. He threw open his car door and walked out into the street. Amanda's eyes grew big in recognition, and her face turned red right away. She tightened her grip on the trash bags to avoid his eyes. The girls stared at him like he was a random stranger because they didn't know what to think. The sound of Raphael's voice broke when he said, "Amanda, wait." She didn't even pause. As if to protect the two girls from him, she turned her back on him and pulled them away. Raphael's heart shook. These people were his family, and they were leaving him. The sound of his footsteps echoed in his ears as he closed the gap between them and him. "Amanda, wait a minute. Talk to me, please." She kept going. As she crossed the street, her daughters followed behind her at a faster pace. The girls didn't even know who he was. As Raphael tried to keep up, his legs were working hard to catch up to them. His breath caught. He couldn't let them get away again. No, not after feeling bad about it for so long. He caught up to her just as she got to a small alley. Her shoulders were stiff and rigid. He begged, "Amanda, please just listen." His voice was more open than he had ever let it be. She stopped and turned around, her face red with anger. Raphael tried to speak, but his words got stuck in his throat. "What do you want from me, Raphael? Do you think you can just show up now, after all these years, and play the hero, the savior?" You think money will solve everything. His heart told him to say sorry and explain, but he couldn't because he didn't know anything about their lives. Right in front of him, his daughters were living the life he had left behind. He had no idea. Amanda shook her head in shock. Do you want to help now? You really believe that a few bags of toys or a big check will make up for everything you've done? Each word was like a dagger, cutting deeper into his heart. I had no idea. I had no idea. His voice was now very sad. She made a mean face. You didn't, of course. You were too busy building your empire while I took care of our daughters by myself. She stepped back as tears filled her eyes and wouldn't stop coming out. No show, Raphael. They needed you there. She spoke with a mix of anger and deep sadness that Raphael couldn't ignore. He had let her down. He had let them down. It broke him to see the life they were living. The little girls had been standing behind Amanda in silence the whole time. Raphael looked down at them. He was looking at his daughters, Laura and Bella, who were looking at him with confused looks on their faces. The truth of the matter hurt him more than any business deal ever had. She pulled the girls' hands away and turned to leave. Raphael didn't want to give up, though. Not yet. Amanda, come on. I need to understand, he begged, his voice weak. She didn't answer. She led the girls away from him with her head held high, as if she was trying to keep them from finding out the truth about the man who hadn't been seen in a long time. Raphael felt helpless as he watched them walk off into the alley after leaving. The things he had done wrong in the past made his heart feel like it was being crushed. What did he do? He had everything. It didn't matter how much money or success they had now. It couldn't make up for the time he missed with his family. What did he do now? He had no idea. He would fix things, though. He was stuck and couldn't return. But he might be able to start over. Say you were Raphael. What would you have done when you saw your ex-wife and kids in such bad shape? Raphael could still feel Amanda's words against his chest in the morning. He wasn't getting much sleep because he kept turning over and over in his mind as he thought about what had happened. He couldn't get Amanda's angry face out of his mind, and her words were still playing in his head. Nobody could reach you when they needed you. You didn't care. It scared him. The worst part was that his daughters, Bella and Lauren, had no idea who he was. That thought alone was enough to keep him up at night. When he thought about how much time he had missed with them, his heart hurt. 6 years. He would never get back those 6 years of their lives. From his office window, he looked out at the night sky of New York. The outside world looked so far away and cold. His mind was on fire, though. He had to fix it. He had to show Amanda that he wasn't just another rich man trying to get back into their lives by spending money. He was going to show up this time. He was going to be a great dad for them. Raphael decided what he wanted to do and got up from his desk to talk to his assistant. Talk to Carlos. I need to know everything about Amanda, where she lives and works. I want to know what she's been through. That's where we begin. Carlos, who he trusted as an investigator, answered right away. Raphael had always been proud of how quickly he could find what he needed. It wasn't about business now, though. It was about them. He had to find Amanda's flaws, her fears, and the things that were hard for her. He had to know everything about her. He couldn't start to heal the wounds he had made until then. Carlos had already gathered the information by the middle of the afternoon. Raphael found out that Amanda had last worked at a clinic as a receptionist before it closed. Since then, she had been having a hard time finding steady work. She was living in a rundown apartment on the edge of Brooklyn. It was a far cry from the fancy life she had when they were married. He felt terrible when he thought about how far she and they had all fallen. There was nothing she had asked him for. That might have been the worst part. She had raised 2 kids without his help or support and had done it all by herself. He was too focused on his job and his desire to grow his business empire to notice what was important. He could only stand outside and watch, feeling bad about what he did. As Raphael looked through the pictures Carlos had sent him, his fingers were shaking. It wasn't just feeling guilty. He had left them when they needed him the most, and that made him feel bad. No matter how strong she was, Amanda did her best to live without him and make a life for her daughters. A life he could have shared with them, but didn't. The guilt was too much to bear. As night fell over the city, Raphael made his choice. He couldn't just wait for Amanda to come to him. To show that he meant to be a part of their lives, he had to do something. He put on his coat and went to the elevator. He only thought about one thing: how to get to Brooklyn. It took almost an hour to get to her apartment. From the edge of the city to the center, the pace seemed to slow down. As the buildings go away, the streets get quieter, and the noise of the big city fades into the background. Finally getting there, he stopped in front of the building, not sure what to expect. He wasn't used to this part of town. It was rough and unfinished, just like his world wasn't. There was a smell of old wood and dampness in the hallway. Raphael's heart was racing as he walked up the narrow stairs. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he got to Amanda's apartment door, he hesitated and put his hand on the knocker. What did he mean to say? What could he say? There were 1,000 different reasons in his mind for why he couldn't be there. He knew there was no good reason, though. He had already made his choice. It was now time to deal with the charges. He rang the bell. Time went by, and then minutes. The door opened with a creak just as he was about to leave. She was right there. Amanda was standing in the doorway, her eyes wide with surprise, and her face a mix of confusion and weariness. "Hey, Raphael, why are you here?" It was a low but firm voice. "I told you before. You're not welcome." Raphael's heart hurt when she spoke those words, but he stood his ground. "Lisa, I need to talk to you. Just listen to me." As a defense, she crossed her arms over her chest. "Talk. You think that now that all this time has passed, you can just show up and we'll talk? After everything you've done?" Raphael forced himself to calm down by taking a deep breath. "I know you shouldn't forgive me, but I'm not here to ask for it. I'm here to fix things. Amy, I want to be a part of their lives. I want to be the dad I should have been from the start." Amanda's eyes had a flicker in them. Was there doubt? Hope? She didn't answer right away. She moved out of the way and waved for him to come in. Raphael walked into the small apartment where his daughters had grown up without him. It was just a simple living room with worn-out walls and old furniture, but it was theirs. There was still the smell of home-cooked food in the air, which made Raphael feel envious. This was their life now. He had missed this. While he looked around, Amanda spoke up, her angry voice shaking. "Do you want to help? Do you want to be a part of their lives? Show it. Not with cash. Not when you give gifts. Show me that you care by being here for them." Raphael forced a hard swallow. This was the time. "I'm not here to buy my way back in. Andy, all I want is a chance to be the dad they need, and I'll show you every day." She looked at him for a moment, her eyes moving over his face as if she wanted to tell if he was telling the truth. She finally let out a sigh, and her shoulders sagged from fatigue. "Raphael, do it right now. Promise things, but do them too. Come on in. Show up. Don't leave again. And if you can do that, I might let you in. Hey, Shernino, how would you feel if you were Raphael's daughter and met a father you didn't know? What do you think you will do?" Type your thoughts in the box below. Things were tense and uncertain in the days after Raphael went to Amanda's apartment. That was because he knew it would be hard to earn her trust again. There was no reason for him to expect anything from her after years of being left alone. She had been hurt so many times before. He wasn't going to give up, though. He always made sure to be on time when he dropped the girls off at school in the morning. He had to show that he wasn't just a ghost in their lives, someone who only showed up when it was convenient for them. He was there for them in the little things, like taking them to school, helping them with their homework, and asking how their day was. There were no big moves here. The quiet times were the most important. Amanda looked at him, and her eyes softened just a bit as she saw how hard Raphael was working. But no matter what he did, she still had doubts. She had been through too much. She wasn't sure if she could trust him again. And even though it broke her heart to see him try, it wasn't enough. Raphael knew it would take some time. He was ready to wait, though. He had learned the hard way that you can't rush through some things. Without trust, he knew that it would be impossible to build again, and he was ready to do it. Raphael went back to Amanda's apartment one afternoon, a week after his last visit. He walked down the quiet street again. As he walked up to the familiar door, the air was cooler, and there was a light breeze blowing through the trees. He had something important to say that would make things different between them. Amanda was shocked to see him standing there when she opened the door. He looked a little out of breath, but determined. "What's going on, Raphael? I thought this was over." Her voice was tired and a little curious at the same time. It was his heart racing when he walked in without being asked. "Many thoughts have been going through my mind about us and all the things I've missed. I understand now that I was wrong. I know that coming back into your life won't make things better. I want to be here, though. I need to be with you and the girls." Amanda stood there with her arms crossed over her chest and watched him. "Hey, Raphael, what do you want? Please give me a chance. To show the girls I'm here to stay, not just to make things right between us. Don't run away anymore. Say no to more empty promises. That's over for me." The silence between them grew longer and longer, heavy with memories of the past. Amanda looked down at the floor and ran her fingers along the edge of the counter. She finally spoke, but her voice was very soft and airy. "Things can't be changed all at once. It's not that easy. Raphael, I did everything by myself. I've been their mother and father. They don't even know you, which is the worst part. They have no idea who you are." Raphael took a soft step toward her and said, "I know. Please let me try, even though I know it will be hard. I'll show them I'm not leaving. I want to prove that I'm not the same man I used to be." Amanda's heart pounded with a pain she had never felt before, a mix of fear and hope. She had wished for this. She had asked him to come back and protect their family. But there were deep wounds from the past. Could she trust him once more? Could she believe that he had changed? Right in front of her, Raphael stood with a serious look on his face and sincerity in his voice. "Can you please let me show you that I'm not just the man who left? I want to be the guy who stays with us all." Amanda looked into his eyes, and her breath got tight. It seemed like time stopped for a second. She was going to believe him. She really wanted to believe him, but the words she spoke were hesitant and not sure. "Raphael, I need time. I need some time to check this out." Raphael understood her doubts and gave her a nod when she said, "If you're really going to be here, if you really mean what you say, please wait. I'm not going to give up, no matter what." She couldn't help but notice how different things felt when she sat down to dinner with her daughters that night. Raphael had been a part of their lives for a week, not in big ways, but in little ones that brought them joy. Besides taking them to get ice cream, he helped Laura with her math homework and even played chess with Beatrice. It was good enough to start, but not great. In the evening, while the girls played in their room, Amanda and Raphael were alone in the living room. He was lying on the couch with his eyes closed and his back against the cushions. She looked at him for a long time before she spoke. "Raphael, you've been here for a week now. I see what you're doing, but I still don't know what I want." He opened his eyes and spoke steadily. "I know you don't, and I'm not asking you to figure it out right now," he said. Amanda hesitated. The words were on the tip of her tongue, but she sucked them back down. She didn't know what to say or what the future held. All she knew was that she couldn't keep pushing him away, not when he was trying so hard. Someone softly knocked on the door, and Laura stood there with a drawing in her hands. "Mom, look what I made for you," Laura yelled as she ran into the room, holding up the paper. Amanda smiled, but this time it was a real smile. "What is it, sweetie?" "It's us," Laura said with a beaming smile. "You meet Beatrice and Daddy." She said it so naturally, like it was second nature. Raphael's heart beat faster. He turned to look at Amanda, who was looking at the drawing with mixed feelings. There is sadness, love, and doubt. But now there was something new in her eyes. There was hope in Laura's voice as she looked up at her mother and asked, "Mom, we're a family again, right?" Amanda looked at her daughter first, then at Raphael. She felt something she hadn't felt in a long time for the first time in years. Amanda whispered, "Yes, Laura," her voice heavy with emotion. "Hope. Yes, we are. Would you feel like Raphael did if you were trying to get back in touch with kids you don't know? What would you do to earn their trust? If you like this story, leave a 100 and let us know where you're watching it from. Please send this video to your friends.